And we're live.
We're live. Oh, Jem.
Hello.
Have we got anybody with us tonight? And can everybody hear us? Those are the
We
two questions to answer before we go any further.
well, at the moment we don't have anybody with us yet. It's just me and you.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Well, if you're there, let us know you're there. Say hi.
No, there's nobody on yet.
Oh.
Oh, one person.
Ah.
We've got somebody with us. Six people. There they come.
That's it. We'll give it a couple more seconds and wait for a few more people to join and say hi. Let us know. Like I said, you can hear us nice and you're good at those.
Rubik's Cube. Do you know what? I've not touched one of those since when they first came out, I don't think.
Mm.
I was good at peeling the stickers off and sticking them back on in the right order.
Got to do the white face first, haven't you? Yeah,
Oh, yeah?
that's apparently yeah. Got to do the white face first.
I don't know. I've never...
You got these kids on YouTube and just go done.
I saw on a cruise we were on, we saw a magician do it
Mm,
behind his back.
mm.
And he threw one out into the audience, and he got them to do it themselves, just to rearrange it, and then pulled it out of a bag, and it was identical. It was very clever,
Very
very
clever.
clever. Yes,
So how many have we got on with us, Jem? We got anybody?
yes, we've got quite a few, and
Good.
they can hear us as well, so
Well,
we're
that's
all
good.
good to go.
So good evening, everybody. Welcome to yet another special edition of CBTV. It's becoming the norm. Big announcement from the First Minister today, Mark Drakeford, which is why we've decided to do this broadcast this evening. So the First Minister has confirmed the outline of the Pan Wales rules after the end of the fire break, which is on November the 9th. And he confirmed there will be no travel restrictions within Wales and that tourism will reopen. So in effect, Jem, Wales is now its own big bubble, nobody in, nobody out.
Yeah,
And then within that bubble of Wales, we all continue to stay within our own family bubbles and extended households and stuff like that.
mini bubble.
Mini bubble, yeah. So the big thing to take from that announcement is that from Monday, when the fire break ends, all of our parks in Wales can reopen, which is really good. And this is particularly good news for those customers who, for example, are from Caerphilly and then Rhondda and Taff and places like that who have been in lockdown, local lockdown since September. On Monday, that all goes. They can travel wherever they want to in Wales, and tourism is reopened. So if you're from Caerphilly, Rhondda and Taff, anywhere in Wales, in fact, come and visit your caravan, come and stay. It's not an issue at all. The only thing that you may be restricted by is depending on which park you're on, there may be restrictions on your license agreement because some of our parks, the seasons do end in October, some of them November, some of them January, some of them have a 12-month holiday license. So there may be some internal restrictions, i.e., park restrictions, but in terms of the law, the legislation, in terms of COVID restrictions, if you live in Wales, there's nothing stopping you from Monday travelling wherever you want to within Wales and staying overnight in a tourist accommodation, whether that's a hotel or even your static caravan. So I thought we'd start off with the good news. And of course, with every piece of good news, there's always bad news. The bad news, unfortunately, is that if you're in England or anywhere other than Wales, then you can't come into Wales. So for our customers, like if we take Clarach, for example, most of the customers are from England. England goes into a short lockdown, a month-long lockdown on Thursday. It's going to last for the entirety of November, ends on the 2nd of December. Unfortunately, you can't come into Wales. You can't visit your caravan. Even if you own a caravan on a park in England, due to the restrictions, you can't do anything. Unfortunately, you can't travel abroad. In fact, traveling abroad for people in Wales is still banned. We can only go on holiday locally within Wales. So I was really pleased in many respects with the First Minister's announcement because he kept to his word. He said that the restrictions would be lifted. He said that there would be no localized restrictions and that the new set of rules would be a Wales-wide, a pan-Wales approach, if you like. And that's what he's done. So you can't really ask for much more than that. The only area of uncertainty at the moment is the reopening of pubs and clubs and what the First Minister terms as hospitality. And the reason for that is because, as he calls it, the new context of the lockdown in England. So, had England not gone into lockdown, then everything would have reopened in Wales on Monday. But I think the concern, from what I can understand, is coming from those towns and villages on the border. I'm thinking of places like, for example, Oswestry, Welshpool, going up the border and going sort of south down the border as well. And in some places, in fact, where you can have I can't think of any examples off the top of my head, but I'm sure people give me examples. But there are towns which are on the border where one side of the street is England, the next side of the street, the other side of the street is Wales. So I think what the First Minister and what the Welsh Government are trying to avoid is a scenario whereby people who live on that border are just going to be piling into Wales if the pubs and that reopen. So that's something I think they want to give a little bit more thought towards. And the other thing as well, of course, is with the best will in the world, we just don't have, as a United Kingdom, we don't have the resources or indeed the level of police officers to monitor everybody going across that border. It's a porous border. There's no solid border between the two countries. So I think they've got to take a common sense approach to it, and they've got to understand that people are going to break the rules. So they need to come up with a set of rules which are in some way, shape or form enforceable. And I think they was having a meeting about that this afternoon, the Welsh Government, to decide exactly what's going to happen. So as things currently stand, if your park has a club or a bar or a restaurant on, that will not be open at this moment in time. We're open to get the guidance at some point this week. If they tell us, yes, you can open and these are the rules, then we will accommodate that, because, of course, we want to offer as full of service as we possibly can. So it's good news for those in Wales, particularly those in Wales who have been in the localised lockdown. I keep mentioning like Caerphilly, Rhondda and Taff, Merthyr, places like that. They've been in the local lockdown for best part of 3 months now, September, or 2-3 months. And it's going to be good for those guys to actually be able to legally leave their county lines and have a little drive outside and hopefully come and visit their caravan. So we'll pause there for the moment. There may be some questions on that. I don't know. I don't get to see the questions until Jem reads them to me.
Nothing through as yet.
Okay. Well, that's a good start. So if you have got a question, please feel free to type it in the chat and Jem will read them out. So one of the areas I'd like to address this evening is our own caravans, which we hire out, and also sublet caravans. So we've decided today that the caravans which we hire out, we're not going to offer any more hire holidays. Just Eat. Olivia Subway. Did somebody say? I'm expecting Snoop Dogg at the door. So we're not going to be reopening our hire fleet caravans until next season. But I do appreciate that there are some owners who sublet their caravans or sublet their chalets, their holiday home, shall we say. And we are going to continue to allow that to happen, but under very strict rules. And those rules have been emailed out to everybody earlier on this evening. And I can just pull them up now. So these are the rules which are put in place for people who are wanting to sublet. And like I said, these have been emailed out. So don't worry if you don't quite catch everything I'm saying. You just check your email. Or if you haven't got it in email, give us a call and we'll pop them in the post here. So you can only let your holiday home to guests from Wales for bookings that take place from the 9th of November till the 2nd of December. So the 9th of November, of course, when the fire break lockdown ends, and the 2nd of December is when the England lockdown ends. So between those two dates, you can only let your holiday home for guests who are from Wales. You must complete a sublet form. There are two parts to that sublet form. For those of you who are familiar with subletting, you'll know about that, but we must insist for every booking that form is completed. Another important thing as well is that your guests must bring some form of official proof of address with them. It can be in the form of a utility bill, a bank statement, or a council tax demand, something official. The document should be no older than 3 months. And, you can advise your guests to redact any sensitive information. So, for example, if it's a bank statement, for example, Jem, then obviously just put a black line through the bank balances and the stuff which is sort of very personal. But obviously we need to see the name and address on that document. And that's for us just to be absolutely sure that the persons who you're renting your accommodation to are from Wales. I know I've said before on this show that we are not responsible for policing this legislation and for policing and enforcing the rules, but we have to take responsibility. And the First Minister said that today. He said, this is about individuals and businesses taking responsibility to make sure we do whatever it is we can within our power to make sure that we stay safe. And one of the things we've thought about, which we can do, is just to make sure that we are checking people's addresses when they're coming to the parks. The other thing as well, something I've touched on in previous shows, and I know it caused a bit of controversy, but for the time being, at least, what we're saying is if you are having guests, the maximum number permitted to stay in your accommodation is 6. Okay, now we may, on an individual basis, make certain exceptions. For example, if you've got 2 parents and they've got 5 kids, and so, some of the kids are under a certain age, primary school age kids, I know that there is flexibility within the guidelines to allow that to happen. But one of the things we did see quite often this season, particularly at Claret, was when you had 2 families who were staying in one accommodation, and sometimes those numbers exceeded 8, which is ridiculous, to be quite honest with you. So what we're saying is, just for everyone's safety, for everyone's benefit, and to make it easier for us to enforce those, or not to enforce those rules, but to make it easy for us to be sure that everybody's compliant, we are putting those numbers down to 6 for the time being. You can only sublet your caravan or your holiday home for holiday purposes only. Again, something I touched on previously. We had this at Lisky Hill, whereby an owner wanted to sublet their caravan for pretty much the entirety of the winter, 3 months in fact, because the person she was renting it to was looking to move to the area. I can't stress this enough. That is, it's putting our site license and planning permission in jeopardy. It's certainly putting your license agreement in jeopardy. So we're putting a maximum of 2 weeks stay per booking, maximum of 6 persons per accommodation, and strictly for holiday purposes only. Now, these rules sound quite onerous. They sound like there's a lot of boxes to tick, but believe me, there isn't. Most of you abide by these rules without even thinking about it. So this is just us formalising that approach and just asking you to be extra careful and to be extra cautious and just to go through the list. And I'm sure you'll find that you'll have no problems at all in adhering to them. And that's about it, really. The parks in England, Liskeal and High Golla, will close until the 2nd of December, and they will officially close at 2 p.m. on Wednesday. We're hoping that both the UK government in England and the Welsh government, and I think the First Minister said this today, I think the phrase he used was that these rules are in place to create a clear pathway for people to enjoy themselves Christmas and to perhaps mix a little bit more with families and friends. I mean, we're certainly hoping to get away for Christmas, and we're keeping our fingers crossed because we're due to fly out just before Christmas to our second home in the Middle East, which we're really looking forward to. But if we can't go, we can't go. But hopefully, if everybody sticks to these rules, we should be able to have a little bit of freedom come Christmas time.
We have got a couple of questions come through.
Okay.
So Tracy Noyce asks, "Hi, will the indoor swimming pool be open?"
If you're talking at Claret, it's a good question. I don't know. I'll have to come back to you on that, Tracy. I would imagine it will probably be open on weekends. So I will confirm that. Give us 24 hours. We can confirm that in an email. But again, it will be for the holiday home owners only at Claret. It won't be for sublet guests.
Karen Woodward asks, "Can I come to lockdown for winter when Park Farm is open on Monday? I'm from England."
No, they've the guidance has made that very, very specific and clear, and I think they've even used that particular scenario as an example. And I think if you go back a few weeks when we knew that this scenario was going to possibly come into play, we sort of did advise people to look get if you are thinking of locking and securing for the winter, get it done before we go into this lockdown, because there's no telling when we're going to come out of it. So as things stand at the moment, unfortunately, there's no in terms of a holiday park. And in terms of what you can and can't do in a holiday park, there's no reasonable excuse that would permit you to cross the border from England into Wales to go to your caravan holiday home. There's absolutely no reason at all.
Ray Green says, "While this does not affect me, Will internal visitors from Wales still have to email their arrivals and departures?
Yes, it's something that we're still required to make sure happens. So please do that. It's something which is part of the sublet rules. But also, if you're not subletting, even if you are just coming down to visit your own caravan, then please let us know you're coming, and then we can just add you to our track and trace register.
That's it so far. Nothing more come through. Just people saying they're excited to be able to come back.
Yeah. Sorry, two seconds. Somebody's trying to get in this door. Hold on. Bear with me. I'm just going to pause and mute.
Okay, he's leaving it to me. He's going to tell the kids off. Yeah, so it's strange times, isn't it? Just strange times. But if we all adhere to it, the quicker it'll hopefully be over. I mean, when you look at Bristol, I just cannot get over that. Just saying about Bristol.
Well, I don't know. I've not.
Did you not? Have you not seen that on the news?
No.
A rave, 700 people.
Oh, I'm a bit disappointed I wasn't invited to that.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I know you can't, but I'd love to have a good rave right now.
But you see the pictures of it. Someone's filmed it.
But here's just... Gem. The problem is it's wrong and it shouldn't happen. But the one thing I've often thought about is if the government, and when I say the government, I mean collective governments, England, Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland, if they don't come together with a uniform approach in this and give people clear guidance, then unfortunately, wrongly, people will take matters into their own hands and they'll just go, sod it, I'm just going to carry on regardless. Yeah. My parents have just come back from Dubai. So they've got to self-isolate for 2 weeks. And they couldn't believe the difference. If you go to somewhere like Dubai, if the sheikh wakes up tomorrow morning and he wants to change the rules on something, then that's it. There's no process. There's no nothing. It just happens. Well, one of the things they did in Dubai, a lockdown in Dubai means lockdown. And what they did, they set all the speed cameras to 0. So that meant that every time a car went past, it set the speed camera off and you would be sent a ticket. And unless you was on the exempt list, which to get on that exempt list, you had to be like a doctor, a nurse, medical worker. There was a massive fine and also imprisonment as well. And, bear in mind, in Dubai, you can go to prison for, a simple thing as bouncing a check out there. Now, I'm not advocating that we should have that sort of approach here, but what I am saying is, where you stand out there, what the rules are, and what the consequences are if you break them. The problem we've got here is you don't know what the rules are from one day to the next. Now, I know there's no excuse for people having a rave, but I do. It's going to sound controversial, from a personal perspective. I sort of can sympathise with some people because, what have they got to lose personally? If they get caught, what they're going to do is slap on the wrist and tell them not to do it again. There's no big consequences there, and they're not really bothered about passing the virus on. So unless the government make things a lot stricter and come down with tougher punishment, then you are going to get situations like that.
It's crazy, isn't it? Another question's come from Karen. This is one from Park Farm. I have a cousin who lives in Wales. Can he go to reception and get the spare key and lock down for me?
Yeah, as long as you email Sandra or email the reception, and we need a couple of things. We'd need you to tell us your cousin's details, his or her name and address, and when your cousin turns up, so we need to say, look, on this particular date, my cousin, his name is John Smith, his address is 52 Cherry Tree Close. He's coming to lock my caravan up. Please, can you give him the keys? And then when your cousin gets there, we need some sort of ID from your cousin, just so we can make sure 100%.
Another question. This is from Tracy Oliver. If your license agreement is the 30th of November, will there be a service offered to lockdown owners' caravans if you're unable to attend from England?
No, and the reason being is because we feel and we think that we've given everybody enough opportunity. We sort of warning people about that this was likely to happen, and you and I, Jen, we've been on here on this program many times saying, look, this possibly could happen, so you might want to consider doing this. The only thing I'd say is we don't know what's going to happen after the 2nd of if your license agreement ends on the 30th of November, and you want to come and visit the park and lock the caravan down, if that's what you're saying, then that's fine as long as you don't stay overnight. But if you're asking, can we come and stay overnight, then no, it's got to be strictly within the confines of the license agreement. But like I've said before, let's say your license agreement ends on the 30th of November. If you want to come and visit the caravan on a day basis outside during the close season, providing you let us know and providing you don't stay at the caravan, then that's fine. But there's no opportunity for you to stay outside of the license period.
Now, I want to see if I'm pronouncing this right, because he writes his name strange. It's David, but he puts DAV and then a little hyphen ID, so I'm wondering if it's David. He prefers to be pronounced as David. David says, thank you for videos you've put on Facebook, both Clarick and Vale Holiday Parks. Very nice to see these happy places. Look forward to seeing more, and more from Thomas's wildlife drone videos.
Yeah, do you know what? I went to get the drone out today, but it's blowing a gale. And
didn't want to do it today, not here. No way.
No, I got the drone out a couple of days ago, but there's not much wildlife. It's too cold. But my plan is to get the drone out as soon as I physically can. As soon as the weather will. Just looking out the window now, it's pretty calm now, but there's nothing much to see because it's pitch black darkness. But yeah, we'll try and get some more wildlife videos, definitely.
No, I think the hail we had today, I think that would have knocked it out of the sky, wouldn't it?
Do we have hail today? Did we?
Yeah, big time.
I don't know where I was.
You got your head buried in all this.
Yeah, pretty much.
David has just put it's Welsh, Gem. I just hope I'm pronouncing.
Well, hang on. How do you, if it's Welsh, how does he?
On the message that comes up, it's DAV-ID. Love Maddox.
Oh, okay, so is it David?
I'll wait to see. Is it
David? I'm interested in that because I didn't know. Yeah, that because Welsh for David is David, which is normally DAFYDD. Or Die. I said to him, sure, I used to go to school with a boy called David Davis. We used to call him Die twice.
Yeah. Saying that now, you made me think of James Bond. Isn't that funny? Bless him. Old Sean Connery.
He was the best one, wasn't he?
Oh, without a doubt.
I think he was. I think he was the best one.
But they reckon that if George Lazenby had done a second film, he would have been the best.
Really?
Yeah. But he got apparently the reason he didn't do another one, he got very cocky and wanted more money and all that sort of stuff. So they went back to Sean Connery.
Oh, there we are. It's interesting.
He's put yes.
Oh, David. Shemai David. Okay. Right.
Nothing else through?
No. I'd say, yeah. So what you've been watching, we just finished watching a great series on Netflix.
Which one?
The Queen's Gambit.
Oh, no, I didn't even heard of that one.
Watch it.
We watched. You might like this actually, and you've got to give it a try.
Oh, here we go.
If you like Schitt's Creek,
yeah,
I think you'll like this. It's called The Good Place.
Okay.
And I watched it a while ago, but never finished it. And literally, me and Andy got into it, and on our day off, literally watched nearly the whole 4 series in the day.
What's it on?
It's Netflix.
Okay.
And it's about a girl who wakes up and she's in the good place. She's died. And she's in the good place. But you realise within 10 minutes, she's been sent there by mistake.
Oh.
And it's all the consequences that it's honestly, it's really, really good.
Kristen Bell. Okay. Yeah. Welshman.
What, Kristen Bell?
Christian Bale.
Kristen Bell.
Oh, the girl. I thought you meant Batman. Kristen.
No, I was going to say. Yeah. No, she's American and female.
Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah, The Queen's Gambit is absolutely phenomenal.
Hilary Roberts has just said, hi, Thomas. We watched the Challenger Space Shuttle series that you recommended, and it was fantastic.
Yeah. Is
it heavy?
Yeah, because they all die.
Well, yeah, I get that. But, is it heavy all the way through? Because we went to watch the other night and we were like, well, it's
very interesting. If you like space, it's very interesting because as well as the Challenger, it tells you about the history of the space program and how it's funded and sort of some controversy associated to it. And it interviews a lot of former astronauts and people that work for NASA and the mission control and things like that. And it goes into some of the technicalities of how they get these objects off the ground and into space. But also what it's mainly based on is how that accident should never have happened because they should never have launched that rocket in the first place, shuttle in the first place. But it's great. But yeah, Queen's Gambit. It's about a young girl, an orphan girl, in the 60s, 50s, 60s, who accidentally discovers that she's an absolute master at chess.
Oh,
And yeah, and you don't have to. I mean, you don't have to like chess to enjoy the film. Chess is sort of like a subplot, if you like. It's more about her life, and it's great. It's called The Queen's Gambit.
if you like the space type stuff, have you seen the film Hidden Figures?
No.
Thomas, it's one of the best films. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
It's about the 3 African American women that were actually responsible.
Oh yes. I know it. And you keep
brilliant film.
Yeah. You keep telling me.
Watch it.
Yeah, I will watch
really
that.
Good.
Yeah, I shall. Right, we've got no more questions. I've got Chinese tonight.
Yeah. Oh, Chinese tonight.
Yeah.
Andy cooked a really nice slow cooked pork yesterday, so we're having that.
Okay.
Bavarian mash tonight.
I got beef curry and egg fried rice.
Ah, lovely.
Yeah.
I don't know what. David's just said, spoke to Victor today. Must say the guy's spot on, 10 out of 10. Many thanks.
Oh, good. He's a good lad, Victor is.
He is a good lad.
Yeah. There you go.
No, that was it.
Right. Okay. Well, in that case, then I'm going to love you and leave you. Queen's Gambit. Watch. Yeah, you and Andy tonight. Try and watch a couple of the Queen's Gambit.
Oh, we've already booked this evening. It's PS4 night, I'm afraid.
What are you playing?
Don't laugh when I say this. The Hobbit.
So
but the Lego version.
See, my kids are into, one's into Xbox and the other one's into PlayStation. I just don't get it, seriously.
I love it.
The last time I played properly on a games console was a Nintendo, an NES, Nintendo Entertainment System, where you had the little cartridge you put in the front like that.
SNES.
No, it wasn't a SNES. That was a Super Nintendo. This is the one before.
Excellent.
This is the one before. And then I didn't have a Game Boy. I had the Atari. What was it called? Atari Lynx. I had the Atari Lynx. Yeah.
Do you remember Dreamcast?
Yeah, it was a pile of.
That was actually trying to go on the internet with that.
Yeah, but then I left primary school, went to secondary school, and not really interested in gaming.
No, we do like a nice little game night now and again.
Yeah.
It's just something to break up because obviously it's at the minute it's work, home, TV, bed. So it's just something to break up that little monotony of this because we can't go anywhere.
No.
There's something different.
No. Right. Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Problem.
If there's no more questions, I'm gonna have me Chinese.
Well, enjoy. And we'll
thank you very much. Yeah, and try and get this solved as well.
Yeah. Good luck with that one.
Thanks a lot. Good night, everyone. Bye bye.